Hi, I'm Ron and this is Asher with me today. I had a 30-year career as a technology executive, and now I'm a content creator and doing a walk and talk series to help you find and pursue your passion and get more happiness and abundance in your life. Go back and watch the first two in the series if you haven't already, because today I'll be discussing a question I got in response to those videos. How do I transition from what I'm doing now to what I love? I'll answer this question today covering two example scenarios. One is a job advancement scenario, and the other is a scenario on how to leave your job for your passion. These are cougar tracks. Oh man. So the first scenario I'm going to talk about is if you're already working at a company or in an industry where you want to be, but maybe you're in a job or a role that's nowhere close to what you had in mind. The thing that I would say first and foremost, you have to rock the job that you have. You got to kick butt at that job and be the best at it. It doesn't matter if you love it, hate it, or can't stand it. No one's going to take you seriously if you're winging it, if you're slacking, if you're not on time. One of the easiest things people can do to show respect for others and respect for the role and the people around them is be on time every time. There's no excuse. If you're a person that's not on time, you're going nowhere. No one's taking you seriously and you're disrespecting all the people around you. So just get the basics right. For starters, be on time, do your job, and then kick butt at your job on top of that. Do it better than anybody else. Say yes, volunteer, be the person with a positive attitude. Don't be the one that's a negative Nelly, talking about the management and all the problems. That'll take you nowhere. Be supportive of the change and work harder than anybody else. You have to do that first and foremost, even in the job that you don't love. Number one. Number two, you have to be doing a second job at the same time that you're doing your first job. While you're rocking your first job and being the best in the world at that, start finding ways to do the job that you want. So, for example, if you're a tech support person and you really want to be a developer, find ways to write code to help the other tech support people be more efficient. Find ways to get into SharePoint reporting. Find ways to get into the ticket details so that you can be clear about what the trends are in support and finding ways to eliminate those trends. Do it with code. Find little ways to start writing code and adding value. Do it with the proper guidance, permission, and approvals, but do it. Or maybe you want to go into more of a supervisor or management role in your workplace. Well, find ways to start leading. Lead from the side. Once you gain the respect of your peers from leading from the side and being the one that takes charge and says, I'll do it, and getting the others to jump in and be supportive too, your managers will see that. And that is something we look for. When we see somebody who's on board and we see somebody who's really willing to toe the company line and the message that's needed at that given point in time for the firm to be successful, those are the people that we think about when positions open up in the management and supervisor areas. When we know that there's somebody who's voiced that they want to do it, made it clear to their manager, and is showing us that in their actions every single day that they're leading from the side and that their peers value, respect, and are supportive. So always do two jobs. Always do two jobs. Rock the job you have and start doing the job you want. And guess what? Eventually, when there's an opening for that role you want, it's a no-brainer. Everybody just thinks of you because they're like, That's an easy decision. He or she's already doing that role to some extent, and you're in, and that's how it works. Okay, so now we're into some different tracks. We went away from those cougar tracks, and now there's bear tracks, big bear tracks. So there's a bear awake. He was at our house the other day, and he's down there somewhere. All the tracks lead into the little trail that we were headed to, so we're gonna take yet a third route today. So let's go for scenario number two. Scenario number two. Let's say you're in an industry or a job that's nowhere close to where you want to be and what you want to do. So you've got a job, you're paying your bills. My advice is, don't quit your job and just jump in. I know there's a lot of influencers online that suggest that, to go all in and don't turn back and all that stuff. But if you have a family or bills to pay, that can be a really catastrophic approach. So I always recommend starting small, starting where you're at with what you've already got. Great, there's something over there. And let's take just a random example of saying, you're working a retail job, or you're working some sort of job that you don't love, and you want to do woodworking. Let's say you want to do woodworking, and that's your passion, and you love being out in the shop building things. Well, I would suggest build things. Go out to your shop and find some small projects that you can do. Planter boxes, cutting boards, whiskey flights, all those cool little things that sell really well. You can look online. There's millions of ideas in this space. And then do what's easy, right? Like, don't spend a ton of money trying to open a storefront or a shop somewhere. Do what's easy. If Etsy has the easiest way for you to get up and running and selling your stuff, do that. The Nextdoor app, if you haven't explored that, is a great way to sell to your local community, so you don't have to do shipping. You can advertise and post pictures of your designs and the things that you've built on Nextdoor app, and people love it. And because you're local and they know you, and they can meet you locally, there's an immediate higher level of trust. So start doing that while you have your job, right? Do it after hours, do it weekends, especially if you love it. That's already kind of fun, right? So that's how you start. And when you start making enough money doing that you feel at this point, if I was doing this full time, I can cover my bills and all my costs, and this is the way to go, then you jump. Then you quit the job and you go for it. So those are the two. I know it sounds so simple, but those two scenarios, that's it. That's how you make the shift. That's how you do it. And take the time to prove out, in that corporate example I gave, take the time to prove out that you really do like that job that you want by doing it before you get it. Do the job, prove it. And the same with the scenario number two, when you want to jump into something totally different, like woodworking. Take the time to just do it. Start selling. See if you like that. See if you're into it. If that's going to be something that's better than what you're doing and bring you more joy. And hopefully, when you do that, the money follows. It usually does, because it's something that you love and you're all in and you won't let it fail. Right, Asher? Yeah. All right, Asher's telling me there's something over there in the bushes that he's been keying on, and we've heard it thump around a couple times, so we're gonna head back down the trail some more. Okay, so the next piece of advice that I'll share on this walk and talk is feedback is a powerful tool. Get feedback. Think about this. It's so easy to look at your peers or your family members or your friends and see the one thing that's holding them back. Right? Think about each person you know, and we all know that they just need to do X, Y, or Z to make their life better and be happier, right? Oh my gosh, if she would just leave that guy that's such a jerk. I don't know why she stays with him. There's whatever it might be. There's all kinds of input and good input and feedback that you can get from the people around you. and ask them, invite it. Don't argue with it, listen to it, take it away, think on it, and accept it. And yeah, it might just be that one person's perspective and they could have an agenda. But for the most part, if you're asking people that you trust, you'll find that there's a trend amongst the feedback that you get. And that's probably something you should pay very close attention to. Right? When we watch a movie, the main character in the movie, right, we're screaming at the screen, don't go in the basement, because it's obvious to everybody watching. Well, if you're the star of your own movie, what are people screaming at the screen? What are people screaming at the screen to you? Well, we don't get to hear it, so you have to ask for that. And that is one of the most powerful tools you can use to help you make that transition. Because if what you hear is, you know, you want to be a woodworker and the feedback is, hey man, your attention to detail sucks. You really need to pay more attention to your corners and get it right. Whatever, I'm just making this up. Now you know. What a great piece of feedback that's been holding you back from being a much better woodworker that's selling your goods. So it's invaluable and it's free. But hey, just remember, be sure that you're running to something, not running away from something. Like me and Asher getting away from this cougar and this bear today.